Hi and welcome back to the channel. In the last episode I said that the next video would be on the fabrication of the anti-roll bar bracket, but after welding on the bumper iron support bracket I decided I would fit the bumper irons, and this is made up in two parts which I'll show you a little bit closer in a minute. And one of the parts, I knew it was quite rusty, but I got it out of storage and fitted them both on, and it doesn't look nice. Anyway, I'll take the camera off the stand and show you a little bit closer, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to do. So as you can see, it's fitted there, and as I say, it's in two parts. There's this part here which connects to the bracket itself, and then you've got the main part of the bumper iron to which the bumper attaches. This part, the main part of the bumper iron, I think is usable, but this bracket here is heavily corroded and it's actually deformed from the inside when it was bolted against the previous bracket, and it's just deformed the metal, and as you can see there, it's all corroded on top. Now you can get these from the usual suspects for about £10 plus packaging, so I suppose you'd call it £13 aside, but and you might think it's not worth the hassle of remaking this part because they're relatively cheap. I like to make things if I can, and the actual cost of me manufacturing or fabricating this part is £1.74 in metal, plus my time is free and a couple of cutting discs, say £1 each. So I'm making this for £2.74-75. So it's a saving worth having, I suppose, and if you enjoyed making the parts, then that's an added bonus too. So let's have a look at what I'm doing and I'll run you through the process. Right, so let's have a closer look at this bumper iron assembly. And so the bracket that I was talking about, you can see how it's deformed there, and the metal's perforated and gone thin, and this has been bent by rust forming between the other part of the bumper iron and this bracket here, and of course you can see some corrosion there where it's corroded on the inside. So this really needs to be replaced, as I said. Now if we have a look at the other parts of the bumper iron, although it's got a little bit of rust on it, it's mainly surface rust and there's no deformation. Here there's a little bit of rust, but that's mainly from the other part, and I think I can clean this up and repaint it and make use of it. And there's no use making new parts or buying new parts if you don't need them. And of course you've got the rubber buffer here, which I think is deformed by the way it's fixed on, so I may get another set of these. I mean, they're not too expensive, I don't think. So anyway, that'll come a bit later, but for the moment I'll keep it. And of course the bolts are totally knackered, as you can see there. So it all comes down to manufacturing two of these, because if I'm doing it one side The other side is also looking as though it needs replacing, although I haven't dismantled that bumper iron assembly. So making this is a lot simpler than making the previous bracket I showed you in the last episode. So what I've done is I've cut out, if I can find it, yeah, I've cut out a rectangle of 3mm steel. This is 26 centimeters long, and without the bend in it, it is 9.3 centimeters with a bend at 90 degrees. And I used the same method as I did last time by cutting a groove in the flat metal and then using a couple of pieces of square section steel, clamping it in and bending it over, and it does work a treat. So now what I've got to do is measure up where the holes go, drill those, elongate two of them as you can see there, and then weld up this seam. So I've transferred the measurements as to where the holes need to go from the old support bracket, and I've countersunk the holes as to where they go with this punch here, and I've drilled a pilot hole. So let's zoom in and you can see a bit closer. Here we go. So there's the pilot hole that I've drilled, and there is a hole that I've drilled out, and I haven't got the right size drill really. It's a 1.2 centimeter, 1.1 centimeter hole, and I've got an imperial size which is pretty close, and the bolts do go through. So if I swing along just a little bit, those holes there, that one I've already drilled out, and if we get a bolt on and put it in, there's plenty of clearance there. So I was going to use a pedestal drill to drill these, which is a lot easier, but the chuck is dropping off the shaft on the drill, so I can't use it. So I've had to go to using a hand drill, and it's not too bad if you clamp it down, but it's not ideal. Anyway, I'll just drill a hole and show you. So I've just got one more hole to drill, and I'll do that off camera. But then I need to elongate these holes here, which gives you some movement to align the brackets, align the bumper properly. So I'll drill that hole and I'll come back to you when I'm ready to elongate those holes. I'm going to use a die grinder for that. Okay, you're going to have to excuse all the mess on the workbench, but there you can see I've diagrammed out the slots for the one set of bolts. So I just need to tidy that up now a little bit, and then I'm going to weld up, if you can see, this seam here. I'm going to do what I did in the last video, and that is put several tacks, well, quite a few tacks along this one, and then measure periodically to check that it's at 90 degrees. Okay, so that's now the welding completed, and I think it's better, certainly better than my last effort, and I seem to have got the settings right on this one. The only issue was, because it's rather hot in the garage at the moment, I opened the front and the back doors, and on one occasion a gust of wind blew through as I was welding, and of course it starts to get pitted because there's no protective gas, it's just blowing it away. But anyway, what I'll do now is dress that up, and that should be the bracket finished. Okay, so I've finished now making this bracket. So I've now completed this bracket, which will support the front part of the bumper iron, just there like that. Now, there's slots in this chunky bit of metal here, and there are also slots there, which we'll have a closer look at in a minute. So you've got a fair bit of adjustments to make sure that your bumper is level and straight. So there we go. There's just a touch of fine tuning I need to do. So it is sitting level at the moment, but as I say, there's quite a bit of manoeuvrability in the setup of this. What I have got to do is just a little bit of fine fettling. The slot here and there just need to be leveled up properly. So I'll do that off camera. But essentially it's complete now. So I'm sure you'll agree that it's a lot better than this corroded, badly misshapen bracket. So all I've got to do now is make a bracket for the opposite side and give everything a good zinc coating. I will be painting all of the chassis at a later date. It's a fairly easy job to do, as you've seen throughout the video, but the bonus is I've saved a bit of money. So not a lot, but as I said, these are about £10 each. I think that's plus VAT, so it's a bit more, plus the shipping. So you're going to be talking about close to 30 quid for two of these, and I reckon I've made this one for about let's round it up to £2. So not a bad. Okay, excluding my labour, of course, which is free to me. So yeah, I'm waffling again, aren't I? So this just about wraps up the video for today. So I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like. See you in the next one. Bye bye.